नमस्कार. आयच्या ह्या गजालींच्या खासा एपिसोडात तुमकां सगळ्यांक येवकार. आज आमचे बरोबर असे गेस्ट आसात म्हाका दिसता जांचो अनुभव आनी एक दोतोर म्हणून तांचो व्याप जो आसा तातूंतल्यान खुबशें शिकपाक मेळटलें, गोंयकारांक खुबश्यो गजाली आयकुपाक मेळटल्यो आनी कॅन्सरा सारक्या क्लिश्ट विशयाचेर म्हाका दिसता आमकां बरेच विस्कटावणी करपाक मेळटली. टुडे वी हॅव विथ अस डॉक्टर पंकज चतुर्वेदी, डेप्युटी डायरेक्टर ऑफ टाटा मेमोरियल सेंटर, head neck cancer surgeon. Sir, welcome to Goa. And let me start with a very simple question. Cancer is kind of an enigma still to all of us. ICMR's recent survey tells us that it will go to almost, the cancer load will go to around close to 30 million by 2025 from around 27 million in 2021. What are the reasons of this rise and such a big rise? And what can we do as individuals and as a society to at least ensure that the rise is curbed?
So I completely agree with you that as we go along, the cancer burden is going to rise. Now, as the cancer burden is going to rise, we have to do something and we have to devise strategies, because it is not only a health issue, it has become a financial issue. Why? Because if you look at the government's funding expenditure, then lot of money goes into cancer care, and therefore most of the budget, if it is going for cancer care, we have to also be conscious that as our population is going to age and our cancer burden is going to rise, there is going to be an exponential increase on exchequer burden on cancer. So we have to classify what kind of cancer is rising and what cancer can be addressed. When we classify that, perhaps we will be able to find a good strategy. Now, there are two types of cancer. Those cancers which are suitable for early detection and prevention, and there are cancers which are not suitable for early detection and prevention. For example, like brain cancer, blood cancer, bone cancer, cancer of pancreas. There are many cancers for which we do not have early detection programs or early detection strategy. But at the same time, for three cancers which are very common, oral cancer, breast cancer and cervical cancer, which are the lead cancers in men and women, we have strategies for early detection. And therefore, the government of India has embarked on an ambitious program of early detection. But what is most important is prevention of cancer. Now, in India today, if 1 million new cancers are being diagnosed, 10 lakh new cancers are being diagnosed every year, nearly half or two-thirds, I would say, are lifestyle related. Lifestyle related means we are talking about the disease for which we are worried, but we ourselves are responsible for that. Now, when I say prevention, number one is tobacco, and Goa is one of the front runners which has done effective tobacco control program, be it chewing tobacco, be it smoking. But what has remained untouched is pan masala and areca nut, which are shown on the cinema hall, which is shown on the television, celebrity endorsement is there. The second etiological agent for not only cancer but non-communicable disease. See, 60% of the deaths currently are because of the non-communicable disease. Cancer is one of them. Heart disease, diabetes, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, there are other, and stroke, these are the other non-communicable disease. Now, the second most important cause of non-communicable disease is alcohol. Now, in Goa, if I talk about alcohol, I may be thrown out of Goa maybe tomorrow, but
we'll tell science, you, don't tell us not to drink, just tell us how to drink it well.
Yes.
In a regulated manner.
So, as a scientific person, as a researcher who sees cancer, I know that there is a safe level of alcohol. So, what our focus is that people should not indulge in unsafe form of alcohol, excessive alcohol. Therefore, there needs to be a policy on alcohol. The third is unhealthy food. Please understand, what is there in the plate of our children today is not decided by the grandmoms and moms. It is decided by what they see on the television. Most children prefer anything which is advertised. And therefore, obesity is going to be a big problem in days to come. And today, when I talk about tobacco, alcohol, in America, obesity is a bigger problem than tobacco and alcohol. And third most important thing is pollution. Now, pollution has two components. One is vehicular pollution and other is industrial pollution. Now, vehicular pollution, industrial pollution, for industry there are norms, but for vehicular pollution, which is very, very significant burden of air pollution, there are no norms. The reason is that public transports everywhere are failing, and therefore everybody is trying to buy the cars or use the personal transport. So, four things that I have told about a big problem, we are responsible for it and we can work on it.
Now, when you talk about lifestyle, I think everybody will be intrigued by what you said. How to regulate it, how to modulate it? Because yes, there is a huge social media or a mass media influence when it comes to lifestyle habits and food habits. At the same time, how to modulate it? Because we are living in a scenario where both the parents are working, their schedules are quite erratic. Work from home was there for a certain period of time. Now there is no longer
Correct.
Work from home. How to regulate and modulate these things as parents?
Correct. So I would suggest two things. If you really look at these days, the gym, the dietitians, the nutritionists, there is a complete new fad which is coming up about what is healthy diet.
Yeah.
What is healthy nutrition? People have got trainers who tell कि morning में ये खाओ, दोपहर में ये खाओ, शाम को ये खाओ, रात में ये खाओ, ये डाइट से ये डाइट होता है, वो डाइट से वो डाइट होता है, इसे करो,
ये ज़्यादा खाओ, ये कम खाओ,
और फिर उसके लिए अभी प्रोटीन आ गया है, बॉक्सेस आ गए हैं, आप प्रोटीन लीजिए, ऐसा नहीं लीजिए, वैसा नहीं लीजिए. Lot of people come up to me and ask me कि doctor, tell me what is the best diet. You know why my answer is? Ask your mom.
Yeah.
If you listen to your family, see, the diet that has come in Goa is after thousands of years of, research. And research does not mean laboratory research. Research means that mothers have tried different permutation, combination, and then they have
come out to real human trials.
Correct. Human studies. And this has led to a Goan diet. Then there is a Tamilian diet. There is a diet in Assamese. There is a diet in UP. There is a diet in Bihar. This is all dependent on what is local produce, what is local culture, what is the local temperature, what you can get the best out of what is available around you. So if I tell you a diet which is rich in protein, and I'm talking to maybe a vegetarians who are not going to take non-vegetarian, how I'm going to give them 2 kgs of legumes and pulses every day? So what I'm trying to say, modulation, everything comes down to parental training. When I say that millennial children,
food of the land.
Correct. When I say millennial children are spoiled, I say millennial parents are spoiled. We have spoiled our kids. We are pampering our kids. We get them what they do not deserve, and they get ahead of their time. And that is why you give them a mobile phone, they go on to the YouTube, you deprive them of, taking them for a walk, they forget to walk. So sometimes my children are not playing. I say that how many parents are playing outside? My mother says that, okay, you are saying that your daughter is not using public transport. Have you used public transport ever? So the issue is that it all boils down to us doing the same thing which we want our children to do.
And we are not doing that, and we are expecting our children to do that. You mentioned mobiles, I am tempted to ask this. There is this huge debate about radiation due to mobile towers and it leading to cancer. What is the final word on that? Because we have seen in our state also, if somebody comes to we all want 4G speeds and 5G speeds, but we oppose mobile towers. So what's the final word on this radiation debate?
Correct. So the short answer is that there is no association between mobile radiation and cancer, number one. But there is association of mobile usage with other mental disorders and other cognitive disorders. let us not forget that for me, using the cell phone close to your head and giving electromagnetic radiation like a microwave to the ear and everything will have a disaster. Cut down on the mobile use not because you want...
Doctor, the problem is here. The problem
Correct.
is not on the tower.
Not tower.
Yeah.
So the problem is that there are people who are using alcohol and smoking and areca nut and eating a pizza while they are doing it. This mobile tower is dangerous.
It makes no sense. So the problem is here and not on the
Correct.
tower. I think...
So excessive use of anything is bad.
Yes.
Correct? And mobile tower or technology is going to advance. And we have to make the technology safer rather than go into the stone age that we don't want vehicle, we don't want pollution, we don't want industry, we don't want mobile phone. Then go back to the stone age.
At the same time, the regulation is in our hands.
Yes,
yeah.
Correct.
What is about these e-cigarettes? Now, these fads come, people get very enticed about these new fads. Now, what is this e-cigarettes and whether e-cigarettes are more harmful or less harmful?
See, it is like I telling my child that use e-cigarette because it is safer than cigarette. Correct? That is the only logic?
That's the only logic.
That is the only logic.
Yes.
Correct?
To put it in very plain, simple terms, that's the logic. Yeah.
So I have used my child. Okay? I have used the word my child. Yes. So if I have to tell my child that either use e-cigarette, which is safer than cigarette, or cigarette is harmful. That is the correct logic. It is like telling my child that if you want to really commit suicide, jump from the 4th floor, because 4th floor, if you jump, you are likely to get saved, but if you jump from the 6th floor, you are likely to die. Do I have option to tell my child that don't jump from any floor, don't commit any suicide? I want to exercise the choice of not telling people to use any form of nicotine. The reason is that you start with nicotine e-cigarette, which might be safer, which is 600 rupees a cartridge. By weekend or maybe month end, मेरा पॉकेट का खर्चा खत्म हो जाएगा, तो मुझे निकोटीन सप्लाई के लिए सिगरेट ही खरीदना पड़ेगा. So basically, by telling people to use e-cigarette, I am promoting them to continue cigarette use.
You're telling doctor that let us not get into this typical stupid binaries of whether to jump from the 4th floor
Yes.
or the 6th floor. Rather, let us understand, let us not jump from
Yes.
any floor.
So for me, less harmful is not acceptable. For me,
let's
no
not jump
harm.
from any floor.
No harm is acceptable.
Yeah, no harm is acceptable. What about copta? Whether it has really been instrumental in reducing the cases or tobacco use, we always press for some harsh laws, some effective laws, and we expect that they will have a huge, widespread impact on the society. Has it been the case with copta?
So I'll give you an example of COVID. In COVID, by the time the strain number 1 killed people, it mutated. It mutated into a newer virus, Omicron virus, then this virus, that
this
virus.
Strain and that strain, yeah.
So every time the virus kept mutating, it became more harmful and slowly it figured out. Tobacco industry is like the virus. It keeps mutating. It makes newer versions which to beat the previous laws. So what has happened, the COTPA was made in 2003. And I must give credit to Sushma Swaraj who brought this law against the, I would say, complete pressure from all around. In 2003 and 2022, the industry has mutated and it has learnt how to violate the laws. And today, Dr. Shekhar Salkar made a wonderful presentation. The laws have to be dynamic, in sync with the changing times, to plug all the loopholes which are best exploited by the industry.
Doctor, are you saying that we have reached a stage where we need some harsh amendments into COTPA?
The harshest amendment is that the COTPA should have a phase-wise complete ban on tobacco. Why are we beating around the bush? When we talk about tuberculosis, we say tuberculosis eradication, malaria eradication, polio eradication. But when it comes to tobacco, which is killing 10 times more people, we use the word control. Why can't we have a law which promotes eradication at the end of a time which can be decided by all stakeholders?
I think the oversimplified reason that is always given is the economic reason.
It's rubbish. The reason is that I'll tell you 2014 Ministry of Health constituted a commission look into the economic aspects of tobacco. In 2014, the loss from tobacco for only 3 diseases. See, please understand, when I say loss from tobacco, 3 diseases, these are healthcare costs. But when somebody dies in the family, it's invaluable. Correct? 13 lakh deaths are happening who are invaluable to the family, but forget about them. 13 lakh people, they get some kind of diseases, cancer, cardiovascular and chronic coronary artery disease. So the government of India constituted a commission to evaluate the healthcare cost of tobacco. In that year, it was 1 lakh crore. In that particular year, not counting the dead bodies, not counting other diseases, only the healthcare cost 1 lakh crore. In that year, the excise revenue from the tax of tobacco was 12,000 crore. That means revenue from tobacco is only 11% of the loss from tobacco, and that loss is in form of human loss.
What would you like to tell these celebrities who are doing this typical pan masala advertisements under the guise of elaichi and kesar and this and that?
I'm ashamed. I'm appalled. Who made them celebrities? We made them celebrities. And when you become a celebrity, there is some element of responsibility. And वो कहते हैं ना, क्या लेके जाओगे यहाँ से? ये 20 करोड़ रुपए जो उन लोगों को मिले हैं फॉर दिस, उससे क्या होगा? कल के दिन उनके बच्चे ही सिगरेट पिएंगे, उनके ही खानदान के लोग तंबाकू खाएंगे, कितना पाप लगेगा उनको, इन लोगों की जो विधवाएं बन रही हैं, जो बच्चे लावारिस हो रहे हैं. Are they real celebrities? The real celebrity is not the one which we are talking about.
Recently, very pertinent question regarding Goa. Goa government announced that they are having a tie-up with Tata Memorial Centre to set up healthcare facilities in Goa. How do you look at the proposal, and do you think such kind of initiatives should be replicated first in areas where there is more dire probably need of such kind of facilities?
See, Tata Memorial Centre, being a government organization, will be more than willing to help anyone. Now, what happens that the need has to be based on what is happening on the ground. We being the powerhouse of education, like 70% of India's oncology workforce comes from Tata Memorial Centre. We have already given, with Dr. Shekhar Salkar being the senior most, we have given 7 doctors from Tata Memorial Centre who are quite competent, who are very well trained. For us, it is very important that if a state like Goa has 7 doctors from Tata Memorial Centre already working in Goa, let us use on their energy. And in whichever way capacity building is needed, we are there to help. But what is more important, that if there is a new cancer hospital, it has to be need-based. It should not be an attempt to create an infrastructure which is not sustainable and which cannot run its own. Say, for example, I can tell you, first we should do the gap analysis of the all cancer facilities in Goa. What is lacking needs to be augmented. And for that augmentation, if Tata Memorial Centre is needed, we are there to help. But as I said, there are people who can do in-house capacity building, and therefore we can build a Tata Memorial Centre in no time in Goa.
But we are saying that augmentation, need-based augmentation needs to be assessed first. Now, final question, what is your one-line advice to the general population? Because most of us don't understand cancer, most of us don't understand why it happens, and when it happens, families get destroyed. Prevention, you spoke about prevention regarding lifestyle, you spoke about the way we are looking at things right now, and how we, maybe in the immediate current scenario we don't understand the impact of it, but in the long run it can destroy a family. Considering that, what's that one-line advice that should be etched in our mind when it comes to cancer?
Eat well, sleep well. Please understand, only those people who can sleep who are mentally healthy. For mental health, it all is multi-pronged. Your workplace, your home. Ultimately, it is your life. How it has to be made healthy is your choice. Keep yourself out of negative circumstances. Keep yourself mentally healthy, because body's health depends upon the mental health. Whatever you may talk about, body's health depends upon the mental health, and mental health is well within your control. That dictates your good sleep. Now, when I say eat well, means listen to the people around you. Don't ignore them. What is healthy food? What are healthy drinks? What is a healthy lifestyle? If these two things are there, if you look around you, around the animals like dogs, and they just do two things. They eat well and sleep well. That's it. We are the humans who neither eat well, do not sleep, and that happens most when you are the most accomplished person.
So we have a complete imbalance between the notion of health and notion of wealth.
Yes.
That imbalance needs to be bridged, and I think that will solve most of our problems. Doctor, you are on a very tight schedule in Goa, but still you took your time out, spoke to us, and give these very, very important, valuable tips. And most important of them could be, as a Goan, is that alcohol can be drunk in a very regulated manner as well. So, Doctor, pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you.